A very good evening, everyone, respected panel. I shall be presenting a challenging case of exudative retinal detachment. It has challenges revolving around all the aspects of diagnosis, investigation, and management. So, it's a case of a 32-year-old male came to us with diminution of vision in the left eye since 2 weeks. He had simultaneous onset of headache and tinnitus. The best corrected visual acuity was 20/20 in the right eye, 20/80 in the left eye. Intraocular pressure and the slit lamp biomicroscopy was within normal limits in both the eyes. Fundus examination revealed 360 degrees choroidal detachment as can be evident in the B scan, and there was presence of retinal detachment inferiorly in the left eye. Fundus fluorescein angiography and indocyanine grain angiography showed presence of inflammation in both the eyes with blocked fluorescence due to retinal detachment in the left eye. The OCT showed presence of subretinal fluid with hyperreflective foci and a pumpy lumpy RPE, retinal pigment epithelium, in the left eye. At this point, patient received a diagnosis of Vogt-Koyanagi-Harada syndrome and received pulse intravenous methylprednisolone followed by tapering doses of systemic corticosteroids and systemic azathioprine. 1 month later, although the patient was relieved symptomatically, headache and tinnitus subsided, the best corrected visual acuity was maintained at 20/80, and we saw a leopard spot retinopathy in the left eye with persistence of retinal detachment and thickened choroid, although the choroidal detachment has resolved. At this point, fundus fluorescein angiography and ICG, although showed resolution of the inflammation, there was persistence of retinal detachment and an increase in the leopard spot in the left eye. The OCT also showed resolution of subretinal fluid. However, the hyperreflective foci and the bumpiness of the RP persisted. So at this point, the diagnosis was revisited and PET CT scan and MRI brain and orbit was ordered to rule out a presence of any lymphoma or systemic malignancy. There was absence of both this. At this point, another imaging was reverted back, which showed presence of uveal effusion, and the patient was diagnosed to have uveal effusion syndrome type 3 as the axial length was 20.97. Patient received posterior subtension, all the immunosuppressive agent systemically was taken off, and 3 months later the best corrected visual acuity improved to 20/30, but there was persistence of retinal detachment inferiorly in the left eye. The challenge does not end here. Systemically, we had challenges. The patient at the baseline was looking like this, and in a subsequent visit, we noticed a sparseness of the hair and an absence of dentition. That were 7 permanent tints were present in that patient. Similar systemic features was noted in his mother, and so a genetic counseling was done which revealed WNT10A gene abnormality. So what was known before that? This uveal effusion syndrome is a very rare cause of exudative RD. Imaging comes handy. Systemic immunosuppression are not much effective. Familiar cases, only one has reported from India, and type 3 is very rare. WNT is a new one. So all these etiologies are not idiopathic. This could be a new one, new window towards a new pathology underlying this rare entity, and it has been implied in ectodermal dysplasia, and they are involved in tight junctions formation. So our hypothesis is that it might affect the interphotoreceptor matrix through its expression in the intercellular adhesion molecules and vascular endothelial growth factors. So it's an entity of diagnostic challenge. Careful evaluation is noted, and we report the first case of uveal effusion syndrome with WNT. Thank you.
What are the other manifestations of the WNT10A gene?
So, systemically, it has issues with the ectodermal dysplasias like hair, skin, and dentitions. From ocular side, it has been noted in keratoconus and in retinal diseases like FEVR, familiar exudative vitreoretinopathy, and age-related macular degeneration. But it has never been reported in uveitic condition.
Okay. Very rare case. Yes.
Does the life expectancy remain the same? Normal.
Sir, yes, sir. Life is not affected because it affects only the ectodermal lineage, does not affect any other lineage. Yes, sir. No, sir. Like WNTA in ocular condition, very rarely associated with all these corneal conditions where it affects the stromal transportation. In retinal condition, again, where it affects the interphotoreceptor adhesions. So, cataract, it has not been yet associated.